Phtalo print fans, I'm going to print Easter cards with this 15 by 15 centimeter gel plate today, as they will fit perfectly in my large envelopes. But the small plate has gotten out of shape somehow, and that will give me problems to stay in the envelope size, as well as it is annoying me visually. First, I thought I'd build a frame, but then I found a frame that size to fit in the plate and hopefully keep it in position during the printing process. The front frame size was too small for it, but the back side was just the right size. But I can't use it like this because the plate has to be higher than the frame rim, as is logical. So I turned the wooden part around, took the glass out, placed the jelly plate on the glass, and repositioned the wooden part in the frame, turning it around, and pushed these clips into the side from the other side. It's quite fiddly, but it worked after a while. But these two clips, I think you call them, they were not enough. So I'm coming in with a staple gun here. I think it's called a staple gun, I'm not sure. It's to frame pictures. And that works perfectly because it stands out a little bit up from the frame. And I have bought these very old German greeting cards on eBay. They're like from the 30s or 40s. And some of them have the old German language Sütterlin on them, which is almost impossible to read, even as a German. I have had a chance to learn some, and this one says, "When the larches are green again, all hearts must glow." Something in that matter. So I chose some other cards. They are for Easter especially. And I will make some copies of these Easter cards, enlarge them just a little bit and print them on my designs. But first, let's go for the background designs. I'm cutting out of paper a 15 by 15 centimeter sheet, just to see how large my design will be. And I'm taking this Easter grass. I think it's actually an artificial grass. I use it very often because I love it so much. And I'm trying to build a nest. The nest is a little bit oval because I want the impression to see it from the side. And now I'm cutting out some eggs out of some foam rubber stuff. And I'm placing them on some felt gliders. I hope it's the correct word. It's some felt that is self-adhesive from both sides. So I'm placing the eggs on it, cutting the felt out. And then I want to build like a little handle on the back side so that I can use it like a stamp. But then I find that this material is too much of a gliding surface. It's not good as a handle. So I am replacing it with a paper handle. I think this is actually not some eggs, but feet. And so it's time for a Charlie Chaplin bread roll dance. Silly. So putting my newly framed gel plate in place, and I want to print this as a writing. It says Happy Easter in German. And I have to take off those wooden flowers because they make the whole thing too high and I wouldn't get the rest of the writing printed well. So I'm taking these off. And I'm also cutting and breaking off that little butterfly on top because it annoys me. The bunnies are enough animals in the print. I don't want a butterfly here. I am printing with etching inks today as they stay wet quite a while and I have more time to decide what to do next. And everything I'm doing today you can do with acrylic inks as well, but then you have to be faster. And printing on watercolor paper, and I'm starting with the Charbonnel inks, paints, sorry, but somehow I didn't like this. I'll show you the first print. I didn't like the colors at all, so later I'm switching to Akua etching ink. I'm wearing gloves to work here as the etching inks by Charbonnel stay on the skin quite firmly, so I'm wearing gloves. But gloves are no use if you don't look out for any paint going on the gloves. You'll see that later. So I started at Titanium White by Charbonnel with a Carmine Red by Charbonnel. And I wanted it to be a nice pink. I'm rolling out. This is sped up a lot, but still you can tell that it takes a lot of time until the paint is rolled out evenly. So don't give up. A lot of people tell me I can't roll it out. It just doesn't spread. You just need much longer than with the acrylic inks. So now I'm placing on the nest that I prepared. And I'm using my little feet egg stamp. I'm putting it under the upper part of the nest so that the eggs appear to be over the back side, if you know what I mean. And at the same time, I'm putting on my Happy Easter sign. And I'm using deli paper to pick up excess paint. I'm taking this off first, which was not a good idea, because the paper just attaches itself and that's not so good. I'm pressing quite a lot here because the spaces between the nest parts, I want them to come out better. You can already tell I use too much paint here. So this one is not going to be that nice. And if you're thinking the Happy Easter sign is too big for that gel plate, this is something I did purposefully because I think it's more interesting if you can't read everything. But I didn't like the felt that was on the bunny, so I took it off. And now it's a wooden bunny, like the letters. So I want to print another layer. So I'm repeating the whole thing in black. Well, actually, I'm only repeating the nest. And I'm taking off the rim of the paint with a cotton swab. It works nicely because you can just make it fade out carefully. Turning around the gel plate and placing it where I want it to be. And the nest is quite nice. I can work that out to make it look more like a real thing and not just like a fading background. But I want to print on some more, and I forgot to film this. I forgot to press record. So I just put some paint on the other side of the writing Happy Easter and on the bunny, and I printed it directly. And of course you have to use the other sign because it's not reversed by the gel plate anymore. And I also printed on the eggs in black here, which I didn't film, sorry. So you see me working out this one. I'm going to speed it up quite a lot for the sake of the length of this video. And after this one, I'm printing a lot more this time with the Akua inks. And this doesn't work as a card anymore. I mean, I could cut what I printed on the side. I could cut it off, but I like it so much. It was a happy accident, more or less. So I'm not going to use this anyway because I don't really like the colors, the purple and the pink. So I'm switching to Akua, which is my favorite etching ink, and it's also easy to clean off all your tools and off the gel plate and your hands with soap and warm water. So, and also I like the colors a lot more, which you'll see in a minute. It doesn't take as long to roll out with the brayer. Oh, here this is like, actually this is sort of a comb or a brush for hair, and it looks like an egg shape, so I just printed that. And I'm making a very small nest here, cutting the rest off, and then coming in again with a Happy Easter. And I like how it looks already. I'm going in between the nest parts with a kitchen towel, and of course I know the kitchen towel has a pattern, a texture, and but I like that sometimes. And then I'm taking the print with my rather cheap and thin watercolor paper, and this would be the first layer. The next color by Akua is called Cadmium Red Medium Hue. It's a very beautiful red. I haven't used it for a while, so it's kind of tacky, and so I have to stir it for a bit and then roll it out evenly again. I'm using a stencil now that I like with roses and leaves, and also adding a feather. Taking off the excess paint with a kitchen tissue again, and you can already see it made quite a nice impression. And I'm just registering this by eyeballing it. So these two designs overlapped in a way that you can't really see the egg, you can't really see the feather, and you can't read the Happy Easter. But by working it out, which you'll see in my next video, it will become a nice card. There's still some paint on my stencil, so I'm trying to print that. But it didn't turn out very nice, so I'm actually adding some more of that purple color to the stencil. And print it directly again. And it turned out a little better. But we see what we have when we put on the second layer. This time I want to take off more paint from the surrounding of the writing, and so I'm using a cotton swab again to take out the paint. That is quite fiddly, but I think it's worth it. Printing my egg-shaped brush again. And when I was picking up excess paint from the nest, I actually took off quite a bit of the paint. Here I'm putting it down on the stencil print. And it took off quite a lot of the blue color, and it has a very, very interesting effect. Also, the workout of this one you'll see in the next video. With the next one, I again failed to record this. I am so sorry. But you can see I used the brush, the egg brush again, and some feathers, which you can't really see that well, only one. So I'm creating another layer with a Happy Easter sign. And I'm trying to make this a little vintagey, which it already is, but I'm taking off a lot of paint in order to do that. And I'm placing this again in a way that the bunny goes outside the frame of the card. But I really like it. And what the hell? Even if I don't use any of the cards from today, I still had the fun. The print is still quite wet, so I'm taking off some wet paint. And also I want to add a feather to the second feather, which is just an empty space of white. And I print the feather directly, which I inked up with the gel plate. And here's something you can do with the etching ink quite well. I'm just taking some ink on the tissue and smearing it on the motif, which is, I think, a very nice way to design this. Inking up the back of the Happy Easter sign with white etching ink and then pressing it down directly. And you can see here that the paper is really too thin for cards. I should have taken a heavier paper, because you want to write on the back side, don't you? I am such a pro. And I really like how this grungy design turned out. I think this is something for my best friend. Now I want to make a gradient wash, as you say, in watercolor. I don't know what it's called in etching ink. But I'm fading out, I'm letting the red fade out into the blue. This is a piece from a placemat that I cut off, an Easter placemat, and some foamy flowers. They are stickers. And butterflies this time. The wheat doesn't serve as a nest here anymore, but I like the structure, the texture it gives in any print. And you wouldn't think that I'd be smart enough to switch to a thicker paper now, would you? Because I am not. What you see in the upper part here is a nice texture, but I still wanted to say Happy Easter. So I'm trying something different now. I have these foamy letters. And they're just the right size. And don't worry, I'm not making a very colorful collage here. I'll be printing them. Testing how they have to sit in a reverse way. Then inking up the gel plate. Again, titanium white by... well, I don't know. I think it's the Golden Open acrylics. And taking off the surrounding and excess paint with a newsprint paper. And the paper already was too dry, so I have to wet it. I'm out of baby wipes, so I'm using a tissue and a water spray bottle. See, this is why I love the etching inks. I've used acrylics now and it's too dry already, so I have to use an acrylic medium to pick it up, which I don't like on a card, because for the working out with the pencils, the medium is not very good because it seals the surface. It's a little foggy. I'm taking some off with the wet tissue. It stays foggy, but I will correct that for the workout. Now I want to print the cards that I showed you in the beginning. I'm starting with the funny bunny picture and inking up with acrylic paint that I've thinned down with a little bit of retarder so that it stays wet a little longer. Sorry, my dog is making some noise here. So I'm taking off the rims here, and I have decided I want to print these images first before I make a background for them. I think it's easier to arrange the design around them. To do that, I'm brayering out the red paint again. Note here that I'm taking off what I think is a little too much paint on the right side, and then brayering out evenly again, so it's a lot thinner now. I have a blank stamp handle here, and I put the foamy flower on it so that I can print the tiny flowers better. I'm placing the gel plate so that the writing is in a vertical fashion, the Happy Easter writing, on the right side to the original motif. I like this a lot, and I'm not adding any more colors to it. This one I will work out in the next part as well. Although the etching inks, as well as the golden open acrylic paint, make good transfers, I think the best is really the Liquitex acrylic paint, the basic Liquitex. So I'm adding just some retarder. I would say measure it like 1:1, maybe a little more acrylic paint than retarder. And then the transfer works, but here I have to be really quick. Although there's retarder in it, I have to work quickly. It worked well, but I should have erased the rim a little bit. So yeah, well, I gotta live with this now. I don't want to repeat it at the moment. So I'm creating the background for that one. Notice I'm wearing gloves, but after printing, you also have to take care not to have any color on your gloves. So not to smear it on the back of the card, which happens to me all the time. So I again want blue and red to fade into each other. And I'm putting the felt bunnies on from the placemat that I had, again in a vertical fashion. And some flowers. Yeah, this is something I can work with, but I have to do a lot of working out. And I will make the second part of this video where you see how I worked all these backgrounds out. So here's a recap of what I printed today and how I'm going to work those out in the part 2 of this video. And I'm trying to release the new video in 3 or 4 days, so you don't have to wait that long because Easter is coming fast. And thank you for watching today, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye.